How's it going, everyone? ZodocLeader635 on Gemmy Master Animatronics, and due to a popular demand, I'm going to make a full video of all 12 10-inch musical Christmas moving figures. However, these things are called, they mostly are called like that. So, I have the first, I believe, if I'm not wrong, because this is, okay, we're going to talk about these circular movement ones, because if we talk about 10-inch figures, there's a bunch of others that I have gotten in the past that were 10-inch. But if we speak about actual 10-inch musical Christmas moving figures, this is my very first one, the first one I've ever purchased. Believe it or not, I realized this shortly before recording. So that one was purchased back in 2014, and then we have 2015, 2016, then here 2017. Here, 2017 as well, 2018, and last but not least, 2019. So, I have 12 of them. They all use 2 AA batteries, and they all have the exact same movement with 1 or 2 differences. There's at least 3 to 4, actually more, different sound versions. And the bases are different. The structures on some of these are actually way different than others. And some just have the generic classic one. Some have window box, some have blind box with the illustration of the figure. But everything will be addressed right now. So, let the video begin. So I'm going to begin by this one, which is the one I got back in 2014. I got it December 11th of 2014. And it was, as I said before, the very first one, and I've always wanted a 10-inch figure of this kind. But what seemed odd to me is, you know, the way it moved. Because the way the head moves is just so weird, and the way it looks like is so weird as well, that I really wanted it, because to me at the time it was a weird Santa. It wasn't that, you know, normal looking as the others. It had that weird ass face with the weird, you know, line here where they make the holes. They could have made them, you know, they could have implanted the beard a bit higher. And the way the head moves, it you know, it moves so weirdly, so much, and in a really, you know, not normal way, that it really was like, holy shit, this is really weird. So I got it because of that. I was like, oh, that's so cool, so weird. So I got this one along with 4 others, which, let me try to remember which ones. The skateboarding Santa that I shown in the same store that this one was, they had a 16-inch that I got as well that same day with these. But that one's going to be reviewed soon. Then there's the, of course I said, the skateboarding Santa. The one that spins and sings Jingle Bell Rock, that dances, you know, that has 2 motors. The one of the midget Santas, the one that has nothing. The one, you know, the one that has like a bell in the hand instead of the guitar that the other one has. And I think those are, let's see, I'm missing another one, I think. Let's see, the Jingle Bell Rock, the 16-inch, the midget one, and this one. But weren't they 5? 8, 8, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they actually were 4, never mind, there were 4. So yeah, basically this one has a pretty weird design flaw, which again, it's not something that was, this is something that was purposely made, but the base only gets closed by 1 screw, straight in the middle. So if this screw is gone, there's still some pegs that hold the thing in place, but it's pretty, you know, it's doomed. If that screw holder was to break, it would be kind of fucked in the hands of any random person. So it sings 3 songs, of course: Jingle Bells, Santa Claus is coming to town, and we wish you a Merry Christmas, just like most of these, in the classic beepin' tune. And yeah, let me just show the bass. This one has a weird bass, actually. There's the switch. It's pretty long too. I do remember, and I do think that the first time I got it, it had a rubber band holding the bag, but with time that rubber band decayed, and what I ended up doing is just gluing it to the sleeve, like some Santas actually have. Because some do have that straight out of the factory, and some others, the thing is just, you know, attached with a rubber band, and that's it. And of course it decays, the thing falls, and there it goes. So here we go with this one. It's pretty noisy too. The mechanism is noisy, and even after lubrication it's still noisy. So as you guys saw, it's pretty weird how the head moves. It's so, like, you know, if it was broken, but it's not. It's definitely not. So here we go with the funny thing, the box. Let's see the features. Shaking bodk. None of these should have a shaking bodk. Shaking the bodk is bad, okay? So you people should not accept a Santa with a shaking bodk, okay? So if the bodk actually shakes, that's really bad, okay? That's bad. This is a bad Santa because it shakes the bodk. Quality seasonal costumes, highly detailed features, realistic animation, plays your favorite Christmas tunes. At the time, it was 85 pesos. My God, how cheap things were back then. Then, of course, this was 2015, I suppose. Yeah, 2015. I'm going to give you guys the exact date in just a second. Mini saxophone Santa, no. There we go. The date is December 5th of 2015. And it was the same exact day in a different store, though, than that one tapping Santa that I showed that sings Jingle Bells. You know, the Pat Boone Jingle Bells, pretty much. That I've shown it either... No, it must have been last year that I showed it. It's a 12-inch one. So this one was jacked up from the beginning because the mechanism did not really have an issue, I believe, back then. But the switch was poked in and the screw holders were broken, so I had to do this at the time. It had a lot of rust too, and it didn't have the battery cover, of course, but it has a reason why it actually had a broken switch. I was the one who broke it. I must have broken it in 2012 or 2011 when I first saw it, because the thing worked and everything, but when I tried turning it off, the switch I think got jammed or something. I couldn't turn it up, so I ended up just, you know, pushing a little too hard, and it actually broke the switch off. So that was my fault, and I ended up buying this one for 50 pesos that year. Well, not that year, but again, 3 or 4 years after that happened. But one thing you guys are going to notice, this is not a stain. This is actually that the cloth is broken. Yeah, you guys can probably see my finger right there. That happened because I did a really stupid, you know, I had really stupid choices back then, and what I ended up doing is super gluing the cloth to the hands, and of course that's not really a good thing. And this year I actually did think about something else that I don't really like doing these things. I'd rather put rubber bands, but on these it's really hard to keep the sleeves on without gluing. So what I ended up doing is I ended up piercing the hand on 2 places. Yeah, there's 2 places where the hand is pierced, and this thread, which I had to actually bend multiple times before passing it through the needle, goes through. So basically what happens is you have a thread going through the hand, and you just tie it as soon as it's out, and you tie it around the saxophone, so that's how it stays. Same deal goes to here. I actually managed to put it through the loop over there, and I believe right there's the knot. Yeah, but other than that, this one, of course, this is one of those saxophone Santa. Again, all saxophone Santas, either 12, 8, 10, 12, 16, you name it, have one arm that's actually on purpose broken, and that doesn't have, that has the little piece that attaches to the knob broken off, and the other one is actually attached. And of course they have the mouth pierced. So if you were to get a Santa Claus that, you know, it has like this hand moves and this hand is completely loose and you see a hole in the mouth, it's because it had a saxophone at some point. Same deal with the life-size Santas, only that those don't move the arms. What else? So another thing, of course, is that these have a very different structure. These 3 actually do. instead of having the classic structure where the arms are kept in place by the gearbox that's closed and there's a disc in the bottom, a disc in the top, and there's either plastic or metallic rod going through that and going through the arms. In this case, it actually has something way different than that. In this case, what it actually has, if I can actually reach, and you guys can actually see, first of all, the arms are being held by just shafts. So this, if you move it up, if you force it up, it's gonna, the arm's gonna come off. So if you guys can see right there, that's a bent shaft. Yeah, that shaft that goes through the arm pieces. It's not plastic and there's no discs or anything. That's pretty much how it goes out of the gearbox. So it's a shaft that's bent over there and then straightened back over there. And of course, the piece right there attaches to the head, so you can actually remove the head. If you pull hard enough, you can actually take the head off. Again, the arms are not held by anything from the upper part, aside from the shaft. So if this shaft comes off, you guys can see it's slightly rusted. There's the holder right there. If that comes off, if that were to come off, you should have to take it apart and put that piece back up. There, you guys can see there the shaft with a little ring that I soldered onto it, because the ring would actually come off as well. That's just how ridiculously cheap these things are. But anyways, here we go with this one. This one has another type of sound chip, which is the faster programming chip that has that doesn't have the pause in the, or not necessarily the pause, but you can notice that when it says jingle bells, jingle all the way, it actually sounds different. So here we go with this one. So the thing is that as this one has that shaft, instead of having the regular, piece that that's going to just fit one way, you can move the head in any way you want. Like you can adjust it in any way you want, because usually these Santas, most of them, when they close the arms, the head is pointing down. But that's because that's how they are, adjusted. There's no other way to put it. On these, you have a wide range of positions, but again, I usually just leave it like it's originally supposed to be. So that's 2015 one. Now we'll go with the 2016 one. This is one that I haven't modified yet. It's still somewhat clean. Clean, I mean, it's still good. At the time I did have to clean it. I did have to adjust the gearbox a little bit. Oh, by the way, this one has a replaced gear. That's another thing. That's why the gearbox is so noisy. Exactly same, the exact same structure as these two, as I said before. Same base, exactly the same thing. But this one has a red switch, which again, it's normal that these things usually have either a red or a black switch. It's just how these things are made. Assorted switches, should I say. But yeah, I did put rubber bands on this one at the time, and they haven't decayed completely yet, so I'm fine with that. Again, same exact thing, only that the previous owners actually glued the hand, I don't know if you guys can see the leftover glue there, to the saxophone. Now I bought this one from a classmate that, believe it or not, it's actually, should I say, far family member related with me. One of my, he's known by my dad's, by the family on my dad's side. So he's actually kind of a cousin to me. But of course, I first knew him as a classmate. I was like, oh, then my parents told me, hey, this guy's related to me. Oh, holy shit. So, yeah, I mean, other than that, here we go with this one. As you guys can see, these things are soon going to start needing speaker replacements, because some just decay, some others just get blown. But of course, the last thing I gotta say about this one is that I got it April 6th of 2016. It was a Wednesday. So there's that one. Now we go with this one. This one, I got it again the same year, 2016, when I went to Chinatown. Because again, back a few years ago, we had this tradition, sort of, that every year in the winter vacations, because I wouldn't have school, we would go to to Chinatown to see what stuff they had. And it turned out that almost every time we go, they have Santas that were not put away yet. They were just there catching dust and dirt, and some were discolored, some were not, some were in their boxes. They were still being, sold. So every time I go, I get one or two Santas. So this is one of the 2016 ones, and I got it. It was the same time I got one of the parachuting ones. That's the one that's discolored and has the light up head. That's the one I got along with this one, only that in different stores. Let me go ahead super quick and see when I got it. It was 2016, that's for sure. It was the 14th of July, 2016. Okay, so there's that. Another thing that, of course, all of these have really assorted musical sound chips, and of course, these three, none of these have the exact same chip. Of course, the head came off because it's supposed to be glued. But of course, this is the candle version. I believe there's a lantern version as well, which I hope to find someday, even though these already seem to be kind of old. I honestly think these are kind of old already because I haven't seen them in a while. But this one has had it too. The first time I actually got it, there was something shorting in the compartment. Something was shorting, and when I put the batteries in, it did nothing. So I left it under, in between my feet in the front seat, and the thing just started making like really dead, like the batteries were super dead. It started like trying to beep or something, and it was because there was something that was touching in the compartment. I think it was with either the switch with a wire or the compartment, something. I think it was the chip touching with one of the terminals of the battery compartment. Of course, it needed to get unstuck. It needed cleaning, and as you guys can see, it's discolored. The face is discolored. It's supposed to be this pink, but it's not. So again, same movement as these, only that this one somehow the arms hardly move, and that's how it's supposed to be, but they hardly move. Same deal with the head. So here we go. So yeah, this is the 2016 one. Now we go with the 2017 ones. There's three actually from 2017. Two of these and one of this. So this one I got it in the fair in my school. Must have been November. Let me check. Yeah, November 5th of 2017. It was a Sunday, of course. And when I got it, it did not move, I believe. I believe it didn't move. The speaker smelled weird. It actually smelled like Play-Doh or something. It had some weird goo on it. I don't know where that came from, but I had to replace that speaker. I had to replace the switch. And after cleaning it up, it works fine. So I'm glad about that. Of course, this one has the peculiarity, should I say? The particularity of having a clear candle tip. This is something that you hardly ever see in Santas, and it's something that I really do like. I prefer silver tip, no, not silver, clear tip Santas than the red ones. I don't know why, but it's super cool. I really like that tip. But it's the exact same tip, exact same candle as most of these, only that they do have different shapes and everything. You guys see this one's not as pointy as this one. And this one is much more reminiscent of this one. So again, there's a lot of versions, there's a lot of tips. Even this year, I saw a 10-inch one that had a different candle in stores, and I don't know if I should go and buy it or not, but honestly, I want to buy it because the candle is different. Anyway, so we go with the box of this one, and basically the box is a window box. It says battery operated. Alright, so it has a window box. The price tag has been removed long ago. This one's a little darker one. Moving arms and head, quality seasonal costumes, detailed features, all the shit that it says. There's something that they all say that I haven't really read, but I guess that on these I should for the first time. I don't know if I have or not. Carefully remove the item from the packaging by its base, not by its head or limbs. Insert 2 AA batteries, gently move its arms to your required post. Now this is not always real. There's some that actually have a very hard arm wire and a very cheaply made arm piece, so I don't recommend it. Switch it on, Santa will dance and sing. Now that's a new one. I haven't seen that one. Please retain the packaging for future reference since it contains important information. Do not mix rechargeable batteries. But what the fuck? They didn't... I just realized this one does not have the slight noise from the motor thing. Because usually these have a... Oh, fuck. They have a notice that says like, a slight noise from the motor that shouldn't affect your... Oh, there we go. This one has it. When switched on, you may experience a slight noise from the motor. This should not affect your enjoyment of the item. That's what these say. Stupidly enough, this is the noisiest one, and it doesn't say it, so... yeah, it's an animated whirring Santa. It does like a thing. So, here we go with this one. Of course, another thing, it has the traditional vest that I really like on these things, and it actually has padding that I don't think I added. I think that's original. Right? Right? Yeah. Yep, that's original. It has padding in the arms, which none of these do. So, here we go. Okay, so those were, this was the 2017 one. Let me just start moving them aside because that pause was actually to change the batteries because I only have batteries to power 5 of them. So there's 5 that did have batteries and now they don't. I hope none of them have batteries now. Nope, not even a single one. That's good. So we're going now with these. These two, I actually got them in 2017. To be exact, one I got it the November 9th, which must have been this one, the first one, I believe. It should have the number in the battery cover. Yep, this is the first one. I got it 9th, and the other one I got it, let me see what time I got it. Oh, I actually got it the day after. I thought I got it the week after. I didn't know I got it the day after. So I got this one at Thursday, November 9th, and I got this one Friday, November 10th. That's pretty weird. Okay. So this one I never really altered or anything. They had like 3 or 4, and I bought 2 of them. And right after that, they ran out of stock, so they started stocking these instead. And they even had them this 2019 season, which is funny because they do have some slight differences with the paint in the face and everything. So I may actually buy a couple if I have enough money or something, because they do have the one with the saxophone, they have the one with the lantern, and I need those. So anyways, then there's this one, of course. Plays 3 songs. The bass is also different. 4 screws. Pretty cool. So again, it used to have a rubber band as well, but I glued the sack to the sleeve. And if the sleeve can actually go in, there we go. Alright, so here we go with this one. Okay, so there's that one, and it says moving arms and head, quality seasonal costumes, realistic animation, place your favorite Christmas tunes. And of course, this one must have the motor one. Yep, it has the motor thing. I think these were like 150. I think. 40 actually, 140. Okay, so another thing that really got me off guard about these is that the candle light is actually opaque. It's not really clear, and it's the same deal here. On this one it's slightly more clear, but you can tell it's not clear at all. And of course, another funny thing is that the chip of this one was not on this one before this season. Okay, this season I actually put the chip back in it. The chip was, I believe, in a 12-inch one. But as I got the ones, you know, Daniel sent me like 5 chips. I ended up just putting chips on the ones that needed the chips, and, you know, giving the chips back to those that had them in first place. So here we go with this one. So as you guys can see, the hands are discolored in this one a little bit. They actually are darker than what they are supposed to be. At least that's what I think. Maybe they are not actually. Maybe they are. They were made this way, because they are completely, you know, different. These are pink, like whitish pink. Well, aside from this one that got a little discoloration from the rubber band for, you know, being there all of these years. But again, these are pretty cool. I like them a lot. What else? Okay, so now we're going with the 2018 Santas. There's 2 of them. We have a 10-inch one that has the original clothing and it has lighted sign on the base. And then we have another one that has a light in the base, in the candle, and in the head. And I'm going to explain a little bit about this one in a second, but let me just first give you guys the date on this one. This 10-inch one, I got it in a fair in my, no, not in my school. This was actually in a place nearby. And I got it the December 16th. I actually got it a few days before Christmas, so I had to, you know, be quick with the repair and everything. And this one, I got it in my school because I went the day before the graduation party was done, and I actually saw a little door that was open, and I saw this Santa and one of those musical Santa Clauses. Let me see if I have one right here. No, it's one of these, but the skin is different. It's the other color version. It's downstairs. I'm sure about that. It was the first one I saw like that. But let's first go with this one. So as I said before, saying it again, it was a Sunday, 16/12/2018. You know, December 16th, 2018. So this one was stuck, and that's literally all it needed. Other than that, it was a little dirty, a little sticky. So I had, and it's actually getting dirty again. Son of a bitch. I hate it when these shits get dirty, because they get dirty from one year to the other. That's what I hate so much. So, of course, this one has another type of candle, just slightly different than the others. There's a sign in the bottom that says Merry Christmas. Now, when I was little, I used to have an 8-inch saxophone one that instead of saying Merry Christmas, it had like music notes. I remember that like if it was yesterday, and it would have this little pattern in the chest. Anyway, and of course that one head. Anyway, so we're going to turn it on then. This one's pretty low pitch. And of course, another thing about these is that these are kind of old already. I honestly know these are old because this one, no. Like, this one doesn't have any kind of any kind of sign, but this one, it has a really old price tag on it, and it says 13 pesos, so it's really old. And again, these two are identical, only that the pitch is different, the color's slightly different, and this one has a lantern, but let's go with this one. So as I said, I got this one. When did I get it? When the fuck did I get it? Oh, I actually did confuse something. I had to show this one first, because this one I got it afterwards. Okay then, never mind. So this is a weird-ass Santa, because again, the face is black. It's a black Santa until you see the hands, they're white. What the fuck? But I basically got the Santa December 13th of 2018. It did not have the top of the candle or the tip, that it's basically one of these red ones. I believe the thing was stuck or something. And the head was loose because there was no peg holding the head in place. But here's the thing. When I took it apart, I realized something. The head lit up. It's the very first one I see with a light up head. It had a bulb, and I was like, what the hell? So the wires were off the bulb, so I had to resolder them. I had to put heat shrink. I had to hot glue it there. And then I had to make a little peg or something to hold the head in place. This one has the same exact shoes as these, but the base is completely different. Okay, that's the weird part, because this one, the speaker snaps in place. On this one, the speaker snaps in place, and here's a little dome. At first I thought it was kind of a Christmas tree, but no, it's a dome that has a light in it. And this one sings the 3 songs, but in the much fancier way. And of course, another thing, this one's super propense of, glitching. Another thing I gotta say about it, the arm pieces were, the arm wires were really rusted, so I had to put heat shrink around them. The bending, the part where they are bent, it's giant. Like I believe they tried doing this so that I would give an extra size to the arm, but you guys can see that it goes here, like it goes from the bottom, and then it goes back, from the top section. Pretty weird. I'm not too sure. I believe this one was never had a rubber band or anything, because the thing is glued to the sleeve. So yeah, that's always been like that, I believe. So again, it's supposed to have a red candle tip as of what I've seen. I've seen white versions of this one, and they all had a little candle tip just like this one does. And I love the details on it. I really like the fact that it has like this gold glitter on this cloth. It really makes it look really good to me. I just like the Santa a lot. It's old, and I like it. It must be from like 2004, 2005. That's when they had really good things out. Anyways, so we're gonna turn it on, and we'll see how this goes. Again, it glitches out a lot, so if it starts going either, you just have to keep jerking the switch back and forth until it just starts completely normal, or let it skip to the other song, and the other song already goes normally. So here we go. Now, you guys have noticed two things over there. There's two, and these are legitimate recording or programming mistakes. I've seen one, which if I do find the video, I'll leave it down in the description. There's actually a saxophone Santa. It's a 16-inch one, I believe. And it has the exact same factory errors, where in We Wish You a Merry Christmas, it literally stops for a little bit, like if the notes were missing. And at the ending of the song, it's kind of it abruptly ends bleh. I can't even fucking pronounce it. It ends the song in a really rushed way. So let's listen to it again, and we'll see how the glitches it has. This is super slow. But it only lasts for the first song. Right after that, it just goes normally. This is fast. First glitch. Second. And the last one. As you guys can see, there's like some notes there that are, placed in the wrong spots. Like for example, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." There's a place where instead of going with a higher note, it goes with a lower note. And the same thing happens in a part of Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So pretty interesting and pretty weird at the same time. Now, I have never seen one of these Santas because, usually the 16-inch Santas have another way of being assembled. Some have the 10-inch and 8-inch way of being assembled. Some others have this mechanism held with some flaps to the sides of the body, but none of these have that. So you just take apart the body in two pieces. So there's that one. So now we're going with 2019. Here we go with 2019. This is one that I got Sunday in the fair in my school. Funny thing, this one I got it in a fair nearby my school. This one I got it in the fair in my school. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but it definitely wasn't this much. It was a whole lot more. I think it was like 150 pesos or something. I can't remember. And the thing actually had an issue. These two had the same fucking issue. It was, no, this one was not stuck. This one already had the issue when I first bought it. It first moved just fine, but then I realized that the thing was loose and you could actually move the head. And, and the head and the arms would move along with it. And it was because it was disconnected. This one worked. Like, I unstuck it. And right after that, it just, it just made a loud snapping sound. And that was the thing just completely coming off the hole where it was supposed to be the shaft. So this one, of course, higher pitch than this one, but it's pretty much the same exact features. Lighted sign on the base, the lantern instead of a candle, which, if you guys can see, the tip broke off. But thankfully, it didn't break the vacuum or anything, so that's really good. It didn't get to the hole in the glass, but that broke because I can't remember if it was because this was badly, like, this was placed in far too hard. Like if it was glued and I had to pry it off, and that's how the thing broke. I can't remember exactly. No, it wasn't that. But yeah, you guys can see that the tip is actually broken. Of course, on this one you can actually, unscrew and screw this back on. Not too sure why, but whatever. Anyways, here we go with this one. And of course, here's some weird, ridiculous differences between the two boxes. This is the box of this one, and you guys can see it's lighter, and it actually has the older illustration of the Santa that looks like an Asian Eskimo. On this one, it's much darker. You can tell that the design is actually different. Yeah. And to make matters worse, it has the revised version of the Santa. Pretty weird. And of course, this one already has like a weird-ass Santa. I don't even know what the fuck happened there. Is that Frosty the Snowman disguised as a Santa? I'm not too sure. Anyways. So, right now we have, let's see, we got that one. So, again, another one from 2019. I got this one in the fest. The same Sunday I got this one. Because first I went to the fair in my school, and then I went to the fest. And I got this one. So it was the same exact day, which, I'll say it one more time. If I can... Okay, it was that day. Definitely was that day. Implanted eyes. Yeah, that was the one from the fest. Lighted. Okay. It was November 10th of this year that I got. First I got that one, then I got this one in the fest. So, yeah, nothing much to say about this one. The eyes are implanted. Pretty odd looking, but I like it. Pretty much the same exact face as that one, but with plastic eyes that are purposely placed in there. You can actually take these off. I used to take those off to clean it up the best way I could, but then I realized that it really didn't make any difference, so I just left them. And as I said before, this one had this one issue where I unstuck it. First of all, the switch actually had a screw going through it. I had to rig... Let me see if I can actually find the... Repairs, animatronic, Santa's, 10-inch. Implanted eyes, number 1. There we go. So the issue with this one is that it had a screw going through the switch. The knob of the switch was actually broken, and it had a missing screw at the bottom. You guys can see the screw and everything. So I took it apart and everything, and after so much... Oh, and this bloody hell peg. This is the peg that was supposed to move everything, you know, back and forth, but it completely broke off. The thing was completely disconnected, and this is the disc I'm talking about. This is the one for the head. There's the head shaft, and this is pretty much what attaches to another disc that's just like this one, but it has a hole, and it's pretty much what goes out of the gearbox part of the gears. So again, all fixed up, and the thing about this one is that I actually managed to restore the switch. I took the switch apart and I put a new knob on it, and that was it. Now this one has the older version of the chip, you know, the jingle bells, but not the one that finishes with a weird dee-dee-doo-dee, and you know, the "Oh, if thunder is surrender, one horse open sleigh" part. But it actually finishes it like it's supposed to. So here we go with this one. And I got this one with the musical Santa Claus that I showed in a little bit ago. Ironically, you know, it's a weird coincidence. I got it with this box and everything. I got them from the same dude, and yeah, this one had the same exact issue. The switch knob was broken off. But yeah, I mean, other than that, this is pretty much this one. Here's the box that's really crushed. Again, the exact same things. It looks like they just generalized it afterwards. Some have this logo, some just don't. They have it in weird different shadings and all that. But they usually have almost the same photo. It usually depends on the box and the weird manufacturer. But yeah, they all have now they all now have that one slight noise from the motor. And last but not least, this one, which I'll cut a little bit so I can put the batteries in. Alright, so here we go with the last one. This is another implanted eyes Santa. Believe it or not, the last two I got were the implanted eyes ones. The face is actually slightly different. It looks the same, but it's different. And this, I'm going to go ahead and emit a warning right now. And this goes for the large ones too, because I actually got a large one as well. These have a brittle ass body. The body is fucking brittle, okay? It just gets super brittle, and all of the body structure, the back and front, you know, front and back shell, they fuck up. They just get so brittle, so they crumble when you make a little pressure on it. This thing completely pulverized in my hands, and you guys are going to be thinking, how the fuck did you put it back together? hot glue. I did not glue both shells shut, but everything is backed by a lot of hot glue, and as it was hot that day, I had to literally put it in the freezer right after I was done applying the hot glue. Then I had to just straighten it up a little bit with a heat gun, but as I said, this is ridiculously brittle. All of the ones with this type of box that have the, you know, the square pattern, sorry, my hand is shaking. Oh, god damn it, fucking hand. This one, of course, is in Spanish. It actually says Papá Noel Musical Luminoso y Animado, which is pretty much, it says musical, lighted, animated Santa Claus. And then it's, of course, hands and head, arms and head move, quality costume, every detail, realistic animation, and you can choose your favorite Christmas tune, which is bullshit because you can't. And of course here it says pilas, which is batteries, pretty much. What else do we have? Of course, here we have another thing with the exact same thing, of course, but everything in Spanish, pretty much. It actually says it in another way here. It says, once turned on, you're going to hear, you'll be able to hear a slight noise, you know, from the motor. This won't affect the proper functionality of the item. This is an item, this is a decorative item, not a toy. Keep that in mind. Here we have another bunch of illustrations, pretty weird but pretty cool. Instructions. Here it says, move arms smoothly. Never fucking move them. They are made out of a very strong wire. They won't, it's more likely that you just break the arm off than you actually get to move it even a little bit. So never move them. Anyways, this is, of course, the 16-inch one actually has, it actually had a possibility to be used as a battery one instead of an electricity one, but I'm pretty sure that that didn't fall through at all. I doubt it. I really doubt it. I don't even think it, because it's not even marked, so I don't even think it had an electrical operation or anything. So yeah. But as I said, every single one with this box is terribly brittle. And let me go ahead and show exactly what I mean. The good thing about these, though, is that they have fair quality within the hands, within the face, within the dressing and everything. But again, they lack quality in the body. Let me show you exactly what I mean. This is the Santa back then. This was the Santa back then. I grabbed it from the body, and this happened. That's the motor. It completely broke. And the more I touched it, the more it got fucked. Look at all that. It just got completely fucked. I could not even put a screw here because this thing just broke through. This is just how bad it fucking got before I was able to do something. This is just how brittle, how dried up, how rotted the plastic was. And it's going to get like that with every single one. I said this before, and I'm going to actually prove showing it. The 16-inch one that I'm going to have to show, you know, in a while, actually did, and I even called it 16-inch brittle because it literally was a brittle piece of shit. And they mentioned that the belly was like, had a detail, but I thought it was that the plastic, you know, it was a blow mold plastic. I thought it was like pushed inwards. No, this thing is fucked. Okay, it's absolutely fucked. I had to melt it in several spots, and the plastic actually sizzled a lot in the places where it was rotted, so something bad was going on there. And I had to fill it up, bottom to top, with fucking hot glue all along. So again, that's going to be shown for another review, but we're going to resume the one of this 10-inch brittle one. So what I ended up having to do is I ended up having to put a lot of hot glue, and this was just the beginning. I had to put a lot more than just this from the inside and the outside. Now, the back plate hardly needed any. The back plate was still good, so I'm glad about that, but the front plate was just fucked. See how the lot, and of course I had to print a square with a hole because this just broke through the second I screwed the mechanism in. See, that's the thing. So I had to end up doing this, and thank goodness, I thank God and all the fucking saints, this works. So I'm really happy to show you it right now. It only plays one song though. It actually plays Jingle Bells. So here we go with this one. As you guys can see, and of course, it did not work when I got it, ironically. What was the issue? The only issue it had? The switch was corroded. That was it. It just did not make contact. Of course, you guys can notice it has the same candle as the 16-inch one. In fact, the 16-inch one I have has the exact same candle, the exact same large hands. So I'm pretty sure I'm picturing a 12-inch one with this box and everything. Same brittle piece of shit. And with this candle, with everything. So, yeah. Anyways, that was practically the entire review, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you kept watching till this moment, I'm pretty happy you did. Because that means you guys like what I do. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully sometime next week or somewhere around there. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And this has been the 10-inch musical Christmas moving figure review. I'll see you guys very soon.